So once again, my husband called me off to the underworld to continue venturing through the world of The Last of Us. And I was so proud of him because he finally hopped on board and spent some extra time trying to figure out how we can watch the super speed. Because trust me, you need it.
So boring.
He sees this show as a comedy, and that's for the times when you're not asleep during it. But anyways, we continue the kickoff with episode 5. Whoops, wrong show. So once again, we have a woman boss with a very angry face meeting with another woman leader who proceeds to tell the woman boss an entire story that could have been covered in a scene.
Your soldiers are loyal to you. I think they're worried we're going to execute you.
If I was getting executed, Isaac would have come himself.
There's a shooting near the borderline between us and the Scars.
The dialogue between these two women is so freaking flat that it made me start falling asleep. So Oscar, the Grouch woman, tells the Square Jaw woman that there is a shooting near the borderline between them and the Scars. And whatever treaty the two groups had is now broken. Our boy Isaac's probably dealing with that, but whatever. So Grouchy woman thinks that they're gonna need all the soldiers they can get because they might end up being in a war again. So it's a bit odd that Square Jaw woman killed her people. And this is where we get the beginning of the exposition. See, up until this point, they could have probably left this in. We don't care anything about these characters, but we could have at least introduced them this way and had this woman looking at the boss, Grouchy woman, and then there's a flashback as to what happened. But nope, this is exactly what we get. This is essentially what we get, right? And this is what I'm talking about with the sheer laziness of the show.
My unit is responsible for
securing the hospital. I know your orders. I gave them the least. What happened?
What is up with this woman? What is so far up her butt crack? Like, clearly the Square Jaw woman is upset. Unless they just hired her like yesterday. What would be the reason that she would sacrifice her own men? Especially when you get the reveal later on. It makes less sense. I don't know what's up the freaking boss woman's ass and why she's being so freaking vicious for no reason. If she really is a leader of this whole outpost, which I guess she is, she's a real shitty one. Being a piece of shit vicious person or being cold and not knowing how to speak to your subordinates does not make you a leader. All good leaders know how to be firm when necessary, assertive when necessary, and gentle when necessary. For example, Boyd, even though he starts losing his marbles near the end of the show he's a perfect example of this. At least as much as he tries to be. And so is Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. This person just lost all her men, and you're bumping up the attitude like someone just put you in a managerial position at Walmart for a freaking day, and you're taking this opportunity to go ham on the other employees because you now suddenly think that you're better than them because of your freaking 15 minutes of fame.
We cleared the ground floor up to the 6th. A few scattered infected here and there, nothing we couldn't handle. All that was left was the basement. B1, B2, B3. We were expecting the worst, the kind of environment they like. Plus the old-timer said down there was where they brought the first cordyceps patients in '03. On top of that, we had an access problem. The stairwells here, and here caved in. And all the elevator cars are stuck in their shafts just below ground level. The only way in or out of the basement is here, the stairwell. So yesterday, that's where I sent a squad down to B1.
I sped that up, mind you. And I'll let you say the subtitles so you can slow it down and read it yourself, because every single thing she just said could have been showcased in a freaking scene in the opening of the episode. And they chose not to do that. They keep doing that over and over again in season 2, and I don't know why. Are these people this broke that they can't showcase what's on the script? So instead of the storyboard and the script being played out by the actors in the scenes that they're meant for, we have actors just sitting here and talking out the scene or the actions that occur in the scene. It's such a freaking boring waste of space. It's such wasted potential. Why do you want to sit here hearing people talk? The element of The Last of Us is supposed to be thrilling and horrific, and yet we have people's faces. Also, what this woman is talking about could have been a very interesting reveal later, but whatever.
The whole floor was empty, not even rats. So today, B2, hoping for more of the same, I sent another squad down, and I put Leon in charge, because he's my best.
Again, would have been nice to see this. And if you're sitting here wondering who the frick is Leon, why is this important? It doesn't matter, because they refuse to show it when necessary.
A few minutes in, he radios back. There's cordyceps on the walls, the floor. Chances are they'll find infected next, but that's what they were down there for, so I told him to proceed. 5 minutes later, he radios again, but this time he was struggling to breathe.
Again, all of this could have been in a freaking scene. Would have loved to see this man named Leon featured in the intro of this episode or have his own freaking episode. Mind you, this could have been its own episode. And let me just say it again for the people in the back. Even though I actually liked that one episode in season 1, they gave a whole damn feature-length special to a gay couple romancing each other and growing freaking strawberries. Which, cool. fine, sweet, but you're telling me that a full-blown, action-packed, tension-filled backstory that could have slapped, that instead of showing it, we get a freaking ghost story being told by two human freaking bricks? I feel nothing for this woman. These two could have fallen into a pit mid-sentence, and I'd feel more emotion for the freaking sinkhole or the ground that swallowed them up. It's offensively stupid. And then people have the nerve to get upset that we're calling this out and acting shocked that the show's not doing well. It's not even a show, because they're not fucking showing.
He was struggling to breathe. He could hardly talk. I thought maybe he'd been bit. I said, Leon, were you bit? He said it's in the air. He said it's in the air. See, listen.
Dear God.
You see what I'm saying? Like, can you even imagine how badass that would have been? That's literally the only direction this could have gone. Spores in the damn air, which, by the way, is how apparently it originally was in the actual Last of Us game. But nope, instead of giving us big jaw-dropping, oh shit moment that would have been perfect to display on screen, they dumped it into this half-dead dialogue exchange between two crusty-faced NPCs that we really don't give a damn about.
I knew it wasn't an event, or we would have all been infected weeks ago. So I scrambled my other team, and we locked the only door to B2, and we locked the only door to B1. And we did what Leon said. We sealed them in.
So she said we sealed them in. It wasn't in the vents because of such and blah, blah, blah. And I love how they slap some swelling, suspenseful music behind the scene. Like that's supposed to make us feel something.
This is what dying feels like.
Like we're too dumb to notice that nothing's actually happening. Are we supposed to be afraid? You know what would have made us afraid? You know what would have actually pulled some emotion out of us? Showing us. Letting us see people choking on the air, gasping for breath, letting us watch Leon be a straight up badass instead of just hearing that he was. Are there tariffs on letting men be badasses on the show now or something? Like you hardly ever see it unless they're being evil or unless they freaking die horribly later. Like he was her best, the woman said. I would have loved to see that. What a waste of damn time. Then they start yapping and the grouchy woman says, "We owe you a debt." Sure she does. And then at the door, she says, "I'm sorry about your son." Christ. Oh, wow. Big reveal. Leon was her son. And they made that a dialogue before they opened up the intro of the episode. When again, I cannot stress this enough, and I keep doing it because that's how much it irks me. All of what they explained could have been in a freaking scene. Again, we get these crusty characters, and of course, Dina is the one that feels like the main character because she's figuring everything out. Meanwhile, we have this freaking oaf bumbling in, validating her, telling her, you know, you're brilliant, you're this, you're that. And it just feels really weird. Like, this is the person we're supposed to believe is on a journey for revenge against a man she supposedly loves. The only person who's taking this remotely seriously is Dina. Who is really Abby here? Who is supposed to be the main character? And we didn't even get any relationship foundation between Dina and Joel other than she told Ellie, I love him too, and she asked Joel about some electrical stuff. But oh my god, this whole scene was just awkward. And that's saying a lot because everything between these characters is already awkward.
Ta-da! What? Lights. Oh, there's a big ass generator down there. Natural gas, baby.
Jesus Christ, I cannot with this person. And honestly, I think Dina's getting to the point where she can't either because just some of the faces that she gives Ellie is like, bitch, leave me alone. You're fucking annoying.
There's a big ass generator down there. Natural gas, baby. You figured it out yet?
Getting there.
You'll find a safe way to get us to the hospital though, right?
What in the almighty sweet baby rib roast is this person? And seriously, why is it that Ellie, I think I called her Abby before, why is it that Dina is the one making all the plans? Like, I don't know how the game was, but they already have been setting up in season 2, Ellie being a complete dumbass. And you know what? You gotta give it to them. At least they're being consistent.
Can I help? No. Why? Because I'm stupid? That's not the word I would use.
Wow. Oh my god. The main character, my friends. The person we're supposed to be rooting for. Even the other non-main character recognizes that this thing lacks a brain. You would think that she would have the motivation and the preparedness to plan this all on her own because that's how much she loved Joel, right? things that she ordinarily would not be good at, she would make sure that she hones in those skills so that she can be off the next day or whenever it is she was planning on leaving so that she could make this come to fruition. Because her motivation is that these people kill Joel brutally in front of her. She's very upset and she's going to procure some skills that's going to make these people rue the day that they decided to mess with her person. But nope, she doesn't even try. Like I said, it's almost as though this is supposed to be some kind of really badly written drama that we're supposed to sit here and suffer through, and it has nothing to do with the fact that this person is on a quest for revenge.
That's not the word I would use. Really, what word then? Non-school oriented. Fuck you, I'm in school, let me help. I'm triangulating. Do you know how that works?
Yes. Triangles.
It's pretty standard.
I think it bears repeating that Dina feels like she's the one who's supposed to be doing the avenging. It's not this person over here that only cares about getting up in her snatch morning, noon, and night. Where is your freaking allegiance? Where's the pain? Where's the grief? Where's the motivation? Where's the urgency to find this person? Dude, did they retcon the characters halfway through?
I'm triangulating. Do you know how that works?
Yes. Triangles.
It's pretty standard. I get a bearing of the troop movements and then triangulate back to their bases. I'm estimating angles, so I mean, if I had a protractor, it would be a lot more accurate.
Oh, I actually bought a protractor.
You did?
No, I don't know what that is, and I hated math. I'm gonna leave you alone now and go and explore the rest of this place because you're smart as fuck and you're figuring it out.
Ellie.
Yes.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Okay.
So instead of sitting there and watching what Dina is doing so she can learn a little something, she decides to give her that stupid ass, weird ass looking smile that, you know, you'd think that actors would be able to successfully portray smiling like you're actually happy, but she's so Botox induced that she cannot even smile like a regular human being. It feels like we're watching a skinwalker on live display, because what in the actual hell is this smile? Like, what the my smile doesn't go further up than my freaking cheeks, okay? Is that painful for you or something? Okay, scratch that. So she decides to make herself not useful, you know, in case something happens to Dina or she has to protect Dina, or she needs that skill for later on. Instead of sitting there and watching what Dina is doing, she goes to, you guess it, play freaking music. Yes, let me sit here with dead air and look around. Look, there's some more guitars. I cannot get over the fact that this person left a perfectly preserved guitar out in the open instead of putting it back in its case. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, she picks up one and tries to sing a song after tuning it, and then realizes that she can't sing the song. I guess the song is like, If I Ever Were to Lose You. And oh no, you think we're gonna get a flashback as to why she's suddenly feeling sad and can't really act out the fact that she's feeling sad. I don't feel anything for her because prior to this point, we have completely forgotten about Joel's existence and the fact, or the falsehood, that she actually loved Joel. So nothing happens. We don't get a flashback or nothing. Don't worry, guys. I'm sure we'll get more flashbacks. Mind you, this is episode 5. Interesting. So then Dina comes in and Ellie's like, you figure it out? You could have been helping her. This woman is pregnant. First of all, okay, she's her own person or whatever, but it's not like Ellie really cares whether or not Dina's coming with her because Ellie can't think past her freaking lips, not the ones on her face. So they go about exposition. In every other movie or show I've seen to do this, when they're like, okay, this is what's happening, right? There could have been a better way to do this. Honestly, I mean, maybe it's just a nitpick, but if you're not going to show some scenes of what's happening and them walking upon the compound, you could find a creative way to do it, but it's not the worst. But they say there's a long-ass building. They don't know what it's for, and she's wondering why they're not patrolling it. And they granted it's probably infected in there, which is something that they could have shown us sometime later at the opportune moment, when it would have been needed, and it would have been a suspenseful and delightful revelation. But instead, we get... So Dana tries to talk her through the plan and says, hey, they're the Scars and these other people that these people are at war with. Granted, they'd be reckless and everything's kind of a wash if they go ahead. And Ellie's response is immediately not, you know what? You're too in this, let's go, because she knows that she's pregnant. Nope.
Let's go be reckless.
Yep, let's just completely disregard and have short-term memory loss that Dina's not only with child, but she can get infected, while Ellie cannot. Let's go be reckless indeed, except you're the only one who has the least to lose. Man, if this is her version of love, keep me far from it.
Are you sure this way's safe?
You don't trust me?
I trust you, I don't trust Seattle.
Me neither. But let's just talk like everything's fine, because if I get too anxious, I'm gonna barf again.
I mean... you kind of are indirectly saying you don't trust her. If she navigated this area and told you this is the way they should take, and you say you don't trust Seattle, you are then, by God, admitting that you do not trust her, because she's in Seattle with you, bro. Dina's also stupid because anything could happen. Why would Dina be asking her if you trust me when anything can jump out and get them? It's not like Dina did recon on the whole area. She has no idea what's around the corner. So how can she expect that Ellie would trust her? I mean, she's dumb, but she's not. Well, maybe she is.
All right, how about this?
What are you gonna name it? Huh? Oh, if it's a girl, Ellie. If it's a boy, Elijah. Really? No. Why? It's a cool name.
Why are we talking about baby names right now? Again, is this the same person who's supposed to be on some kind of revenge journey? The last thing I'd be thinking about are freaking baby names for a woman that I just started sleeping with, whose boyfriend or the baby's father hasn't even got the news yet.
Boy, Elijah. Really? No. Why? It's a cool name. What the fuck?
Why are y'all acting surprised? Oh my god, we're so shocked, even though we were initially in a situation where we should have been extra sensitive to danger being all around us, but now we've seen dead bodies for the 9th time, and we're still super freaking shocked.
We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't have come. I shouldn't have dragged you here. You're having a fucking baby. What am I doing?
And she said that with all the conviction of a person on their deathbed reading a barely legible script. And you're just now realizing that she's having a freaking baby? Character's so stupid, makes me mad.
Come. I shouldn't have dragged you here. You're having a fucking baby. What am I doing? Dina, do you want to go back? I'll take you back. You don't need to do this with me.
Tad bit late for that, don't you think, moron? And if you really loved her, you wouldn't ask her if she wanted to go back. You would just go back, knowing that she would follow you. Ugh.
It's so fucking stupid.
You know, you never asked me about the first person I killed.
Huh?
Don't. Oh, here we go. So Ellie's sitting here, standing here, freaking out, and it's funny how she has the presence of mind a bit late, but later on to say that she's being stupid because she's putting Dina's life at risk and her baby's life. But she didn't have the presence of mind to understand that she was putting her very dirty, grungy, fungal-infested fingers right up in Dina's snatch and cervix. I didn't catch that the first time because my brain was kind of dying. But come to think of it, it's quite disgusting. And I don't know if that's why they showed the monostat early on, but why would you not have the presence of mind to keep your hands away from an area that's very susceptible to getting fungal infections in a situation like this? See, it's different if a guy uses Caveman Club Light Edition to insert into Dina's sweaty body, but I would gather that the male plunger would be a lot cleaner than your nasty fingernails that you use to touch and fight off a bunch of infected people on the arm that you were also bitten on that's also infected. Ellie might be immune, but it doesn't mean that those things don't exist inside of her. We saw when that stalker thing had attacked her, and when it bit her, that there was a little wormy tendril right there hanging out of the womb and inside of it. See, it's right there squirming around. So from what we saw there, they still go in there, it's just that they can't infect her. And Dina is a dumbass, because just because Ellie said that she's immune doesn't mean that she's not a carrier, or that it still can't pass on to you if you're swapping body juice. It's one of the first things I would wonder. Like, hello, can I get infected if we start kissing each other, if you put your infected grungy paws inside me? But I swear everyone here has the intellectual IQ of a jellyfish with Down syndrome having been banged around in the frickin' dishwasher.
You know, you never asked me about the first person I killed.
Why would she ask you that? You're not that interesting. Or maybe you are to her. But then again, she's not smart enough to even care, which we've seen time and time again. Again, it feels like Dina is the one who was more so Joel's daughter, which is funny because Joel even said that in the therapy session, or the poor excuse for one, which felt more like a hazing in my opinion.
No, maybe a little more than that. I hate you for it. I hate you for it.
When I was little, we lived in a cabin in a forest north of Santa Fe, and there were scattered families around. But mostly it was just us alone, and I would get so bored, cooped up.
And this was the exact moment when they should have started showing us Dina's backstory, give us a reason, a real motivation for why she's doing any of this. Honestly, it might have been more engaging because at this point, anyone in the show is more compelling than Ellie. But instead, we get this drawn-out exposition where Dina rambles about killing someone, her family dying, yada yada. They had a perfect opportunity to show us something that could actually land emotionally. And yeah, okay, I get that people defend it and they're like, well, you know, characters need dialogue. And yeah, that's fine, but in a visual medium like this, we don't just want to sit here listening to them talk. If Dina is telling a story from her past, then why not just let her words flow into a flashback? Show us a younger version of her living through those moments so we can actually feel something. That would have given the scene weight. But nope, I guess that's way too much effort apparently. Exposition, exposition, exposition. And all it serves to do is make Ellie look like an idiot and push Dina into the spotlight like she's the one that we're supposed to be following now. But it doesn't work because she's not the one we saw have that connection with Joel in the first season. So what's the point in them doing this? It feels like halfway through they just gave up on writing the characters and decided to make Dina Ellie instead.
Fuck, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought, how did you get to Jackson? Doesn't matter. This is what matters. Whatever reason Joel gave those people to do what they did, he didn't deserve that. And I think, what if I hadn't snuck out? What if my mom and sister were beaten to death in front of me? What if that motherfucker made me watch as he did it? Would it make a difference if my family had hurt his people first? No. No.
In fact, fuck no.
I'll be real. Dina's actress isn't exactly a powerhouse of a performer, but somehow she feels more like Ellie than Ellie does. And yeah, I know the bar is already in hell, but seriously, what is even happening here? Are the writers confused? Because if someone walked like right in the middle of this scene, just this scene, without knowing any context from season 1, they'd probably assume Dina is Ellie if they were told the bare minimum about Ellie. Feels like something that Ellie should have been saying. Ellie feels like the side character in her own show, which is kind of comical and ironic because she actually is a side character and it's not really her show. That's what she functioned as throughout the entire theme of The Last of Us, at least for the original story.
If he had gotten away, I promise you, I would have hunted him down forever. Forever.
Jesus Christ, this story sucks. What is the point of Ellie being here? Seriously, what is her point? It's like she doesn't even want to do this. She's a freaking poser. The whole time I'm still waiting to see some kind of performance from this character to convince me that she cared about Joel or that she's on a mission for revenge, but instead, all she cares about is screwing Dina and lumbering behind her like some lost creature. And if that's where you want to go with this, sure, why not? But you're not even doing a good job of selling that, because if she really did care about Dina, she would have had a complete 180 in her mindset when she seems to have done in the last 2 episodes and had taken Dina home.
I'll go back if you want, and I'll keep going if you want. There's no right answer. If I die, it's on me. It won't be your fault. So what do you want to do?
You just heard what Dina said to Ellie. If you want me to go back, I'll go back. And if you want me to continue on this stupid journey, I'll continue on. There's no right or wrong answers. That's what she says. But there is. She is putting this completely on Ellie. If Ellie is the one that's left up to making such a decision, then it will be her fault what she chooses. Yes, Dina is her own person, but if the choice is left up to Ellie and you love this person, this is the point in the crossroads where you're supposed to say, man, I really love this person and she can get infected and I can't. If I haven't already infected her with my nasty ass fingers, I will turn back and I will hide the fact that I'm gonna come back out here on my own. The fuck? Except Ellie cannot do anything on her own apparently. And she's written in such a way that she's so stupid that she needs Dina. Dina is pregnant. You found this out, and you know this, and you even admitted to being stupid and wanting to take her back. And now she's literally telling you, choose what you want me to do. And can you guess what this bitch is gonna choose?
Uh-huh.
Keep going.
At this point, I really hope that Dina dies. Like, I don't even care. At this point, I want her character, Ellie's character, to feel so freaking guilty about what happened, just so she can constantly be reminded of her total selfishness and stupidity, because Jesus Christ. I would have believed if she was like, I don't know, overcome by rage, and then she was like, fuck everything, fuck Dina, fuck everyone else, I just need revenge. Because people who decide to even go on journeys like this in the first place do it because they're overcome with hurt and grief and anger and rage. They don't just decide to do this as a freaking girls trip. There's something real and raw and broken because of what they saw, right? And again, we haven't been convinced of that from Princess Beluga over here. So it's completely out of place, regardless of the fact that Dina just told her that story. For her to then make the decision to keep going with Dina instead of turning back and living happily ever after at the Jackson settlement with Dina and her baby. And with Jesse, if Jesse even wants her to be a part of the family. What a dumbass.
Keep going.
I just had a thought. It would have been funny as hell if Dina was just shit testing her, because to me, if I were Dina, that would tell me 1000% that this person doesn't give a damn about me. Anyway, they head to the area under the cover of nightfall and go inside the building.
That door's open, and nothing's about to kill us. Yet. Great. Maybe. I'm gonna take a peek. Yeah, you should do that, because you're the one who can't get infected.
Why do you freaking care? You decided for her to keep going on the stupid suicidal adventure, and now you care that she can get infected? When you were sticking your dirty, dank digits in between her hamburger meat, you didn't care then that she could get infected. You conveniently forgot that. One of these infected clicker things needs to take her out, I swear. If they want to keep Dina as the main character, have her replace Ellie. I fully support that. Because at this point, it's just very torturously sad.
If it gets bad, and we have to make a choice between shooting or running, we run. Last resort, you got it. Oh, you think that no matter what happens, I'm just gonna start firing? Literally every single time, yes. Don't get angry. You're a little crazy, and that's exciting. That's one of the reasons I love you. But I do want to make it out of here.
If you want to make it out of here, maybe you should have just gone home, you dumbass. You want to keep the baby, and I'm guessing they have a choice to do so. Then you should be thinking about more than just yourself and the child that you're carrying. What are these things? Because they can't be real people. You know what I mean? I know it's a show in their fate, but still.
Every single time, yes. Don't get angry. You're a little crazy, and that's exciting. That's one of the reasons I love you. But I do want to make it out of here. You love me?
Oh my god, ew. How freaking pathetic and very sad. Jesus Christ. Can you simp any harder? Remember when I told you guys about Dina love bombing Ellie? This is crazy work. Like, Ellie's character is the kind of character that feels so unhinged. Like the kind of character that would just key your car for looking at someone else when you don't even know they like you. Or maybe she'll be one of those people who shows up to your doorstep unannounced every freaking day or with a gift having just met you. True story that actually happened to me. And then you travel across states to visit your family, and she finds a way to get there too and show up without being invited. That part didn't happen. But that's the kind of vibes that Ellie's giving me. I know some people are gonna find, oh, sweet and cuddly and creamy, but I don't. It's just tragically pathetic. I'm sure Dina loves her as a friend, but I don't see her loving Ellie romantically right now, especially based on the body language she was giving off before. She also treats Ellie like she's stupid half the time, which I can't even really blame her for because Ellie is dumb as rocks.
You love me? Oh, I know.
Oh my god. I don't know if I can do any more of this. Something needs to happen off screen and away from these people because they are killing me with this delusion. So they go down the hall into a much bigger room, and that's where we start to get things happening a little bit because, like, God forbid we have a little action here.
Why is it hiding? I think it's a smart one.
This must be so crazy for Ellie recognizing that it's not only her fellow humans that are smarter than her, but now the freaking zombies are too. And they're fungus. They're being piloted by freaking fungi.
Hey, what's up?
So now Ellie is explaining to Dina about the stalker in the supermarket and confesses that it did bite her. And Dina is acting all shocked for some weird reason. Ellie said she couldn't have told her because she probably would have shot her. I mean, don't know why she's saying this because you were able to talk her down and make love to her to shut her up. You probably could have done exactly the same thing then.
What do we do? I don't know. Let's go back to where we came. If we run, they're gonna chase, so we have to go slow.
But there you have it, folks. But don't worry. I have a feeling someone's gonna come in and save them. Their plot armor is so freaking dummy thick that there's no way they're getting out of here alive without some sorcery or complete shit the bed level of writing.
Over there, I'm gonna lure as many as I can. You're gonna run in there, secure the gate, secure however you can, and stay in there. Tina, I can get bit a lot. You can't. Do as I say.
I like how Ellie's trying to say that she can get bit a lot, but they completely disregard that if these things overpower her, they can't just tear out her jugular or disembowel her. Like, did we forget that these things were freaking eating people in the first season and tearing out their insides? Did they just lose the ability to do that all of a sudden? What use is being immune if these things can just tear you limb from limb? Did they nerf them specifically for Ellie's sake? I mean, we've seen these things taking down grown men very easily one-on-one. Wouldn't have mattered if those people were immune because they were being torn apart by human-sized and shaped piranhas. And freaking Ellie is as short as me. We already come bite-sized. So can you imagine someone like her going up against things like that? And there's multiple of them, and somehow we're supposed to believe that she makes it out completely okay because her being immune automatically means that they're just going to bite her a whole bunch of times and not try to rip her apart.
Do as I say.
If they were just gonna do all that from the beginning, why didn't they just do it and run for the door? Whatever. I don't know why they're worried. They have ridiculous plot armor. Or did they not catch on by now? So Dina locks herself in the shark cage, and fuck all that does, because they start tearing the wire off from it. And we're supposed to believe that, oh no, Dina's gonna die. But don't worry, we already know someone's going to save them, because it's so freaking obvious. Did you guys see that? A dude saved them. But don't worry, he probably isn't gonna be around for very long, which would be very sad because this dude is Jesse. And I can't tell you how I actually yelped out loud because he is the only person, aside from the freaking horse, who they trapped in that building, that I like in this godforsaken show. He's the only person written like a character. And I love Jesse, man. It makes sense that we have brought him along because we need drama. And since he's the father of the baby, presumably, what better way to bring it, right? And this is under the assumption that Dina wasn't already spreading her legs raw dogging with other people, which, you know, who knows?
Did you get bit?
What? No.
My boy Jesse! Lord, with a freaking glass of water in the Sahara. And I don't mean what you guys think I mean. I mean, the show is so dead inside that he's the oasis. Holy shit. I don't see how it's possible, but the likable characters in here, or the ones that people actually root for, are the bigot sandwich guy and Jesse. And I looked it up, and apparently fans are like, yo, this is the only person out of the entire freaking franchise, aside from maybe Joel, who looks like the person he's supposed to be playing. I mean, there's some differences there with the jaw structure, but the nose is the same, the forehead is, the eyebrows are the same, mouth is the same. He's got that same look going on, even though the game counterpart looks a little bit more serious, but at least he resembles the character. I'm so glad that they didn't cast freaking Steven Yeun to play this guy, because Steven Yeun looks nothing like him. So it shows us that it is possible for them to do so.
Did you get bit?
What? No. She's okay. I was watching. They didn't bite her. Jesse, I swear.
I don't know how Jesse bought this from Dina though, because when he came in, Dina felt like she was getting sworn by this one thing in that cage fighting for her life. So unless she has eyes in the ceiling of this warehouse that can see in the dark, how is it possible that she knew for certain that Ellie didn't get bit? Plus, she was far away, and it was dark. Also, if people want to save their lives and hang on for as long as possible, and don't want you to kill the... Ew, where was I? Yeah, and they don't want you to kill them, isn't it possible that, I don't know, call me crazy, that they would lie about getting bit? Why wouldn't you have people check? Damn, can't get away from that. Doesn't matter where you turn. The bad writing is right around the corner, waiting to bite you. But we forgive it in this moment because Jesse's here, and everybody likes Jesse. Even though he's not sure about it, maybe now's not the time, unless of course she turns later and bites one of them, like when they're trying to hide. But regardless, Jesse escorts them out while they all get shot at, and I'm sorry, he just looks like a freaking badass. And he effortlessly does so. If you want one of those good female, actual badass characters in the show, it was Joel's girlfriend Tess, who blew herself up while she was passionately being kissed by the infected. And yeah, she's the only other one I can think of where I just saying, she's the only one I can think of because, you know, I believe it. It feels like she's badass because honestly, that was one hell of a way to go. Everyone else feels fake as hell. So Jesse tells them to all go to the park and their pursuers won't go in there. And they presume the reason why is because they're infected or infected in the area. Anyway, they're safe for now since the guys won't go in, which should concern them. But then we get into how Jesse was even able to find them. And this part annoyed me at first, but then it made me so freaking happy.
Jesse.
What?
How did you find us?
The map you left in the theater. Impressive triangulation, by the way.
Thanks, that was all Dina.
Trust me, I didn't think it was you.
Oh my freaking god, I love this so much. If there is one thing I'm gonna walk away from the show and give it a standing ovation for, it's the freaking dialogue. It's Jesse's freaking dialogue when it comes to Ellie. Oh my god, I love it because he's the only one who calls her out. And he basically acts, well, Dina does sometimes too, but Jesse in this scene is more so acting like a mouthpiece for all the audience. It's like a separate person on the writing team for The Last of Us who recognized this for the dumpster fire that it is, decided to write Jesse's lines, and oh my god, they're perfection.
Perfect.
So freaking refreshing, which is kind of messed up because Ellie is supposed to be the main character, and she, to this moment, does not have main character energy. Dina has more than she does, and Jesse has more than both of them combined. That they're gonna kill him off. Because in Hollywood, they always kill off the Asian men first, or kill them off at some point. And I just have a feeling, and we can't have him being in the way of Ellie and Dina's happiness, and we don't even know if Dina is gonna stick around long. The same thing might happen to her that happened to Ellie's mom, and she might get beaten and have an immune hybrid baby thing, and then Ellie will raise it. But I can also see how ridiculous this writing is, that Ellie might end up with Abby. I could be wrong, don't ask me why I went there, but considering how the show is being written, can you blame me for thinking that? Otherwise, why would they be showcasing Abby? And why would you have the ability to play her in the second game? And I don't fully know what happens in the second game, mind you, and even though I own the first, I never actually played it straight through, with the exception of seeing a few clips here and there and knowing some of the story beats of the first game. As a matter of fact, it's still in the freaking case. It's still wrapped up in plastic. And all that I've gotten is that people are telling me that the ending is worse in season 2 or part 2. I don't know how. And the only thing I can see in my mind is Ellie and Abby come face to face. They meet, they argue, talk it out, get some exposition as we always do, and they fight or whatever. But then one of them is like, I like the way that you create moisture. I love the way you make me moist. And then the next thing you know, they end up together in some weird ass way. Again, I could be wrong, but I will bet you a strawberry glazed belly button that Jesse's gonna die, right? They killed the first Asian dude, Leon or whatever, and we assume that he's dead based on what his mother said, because he was coughing and whatever, and we deduced that he's infected and he's dead, right? And they didn't even have the courtesy to do it on screen. Or maybe he's still alive. Like I said, he could still be alive. I could be wrong there. But if he is, he probably won't be for long. But I can bet you he's not. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
How did you find the theater?
Do you want to click on and fucking talk to you right now?
Oh my god. I want to kiss him right now. Bro, you have no idea how much I loathe Ellie's character. And just hearing him talk to her like that is making me so freaking... not moist. That's not the word I was gonna use. I feel so freaking euphoric right now. And he's probably mad because Ellie decided to take Dina with her and put the both of them in danger. I'm wondering if he knows Dina's pregnant. Probably not.
You came alone?
No, me and Tommy. We split up when we got to the city, covered more ground.
I can't believe they sent you after us.
They didn't. You two were gonna die out here, so we snuck out the next night. That's a good thing we did.
You know what we're doing pretty fucking good at?
Up until what?
Till we weren't.
That's what you get. That's what you fucking get, bitch.
Stupid ass. Like, this is not one of those situations. This is not one of those times where you could stand up on your 2 clumsy feet and say that with your chest, because you know damn well you look the damn fool.
Is Tommy okay?
Hopefully. We're supposed to rendezvous in the morning.
So what now?
Find a way out, get back to the theater, shelter for the night, meet up with Tommy, and then we all go home.
I like how Dina didn't open her mouth once to defend Ellie. Dina was probably like, yeah, finally. A real man to keep me safe instead of this icebox that I have to constantly think for and get fungal infections from.
So what now?
Find a way out, get back to the theater, shelter for the night, meet up with Tommy, and then we all go home.
No, Ellie.
No, before the whistling starts, the way she said that is the same way Gal Gadot said, "Kalel, no." It was so unconvincing, and probably not the time to have this conversation. Anyway, they come upon one of the WLF soldiers being strung up by these why so serious people that the wolf guys call scars. And the wolf guy is saying, look, I'll leave enjoying you, dude, because he's trying to save his life. But the scar guys are like,
nah, yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Then do your own thing over there.
They just want to make this guy's insides kiss the floor. I don't know why this scene reminds me of the 12 Years a Slave scene. He was being lynched or something. It was very uncomfortable.
How are you free?
Anyway, that guy gets killed. And when we were watching this, my husband had a morbid thought, and he said it would have made more sense, would have been messed up, if they had the tip of the arrow like covered in shit or something, because apparently that's what some tribes do to guarantee infection. I can bet right about now Dina's rethinking that story that she told Ellie. All of a sudden, this doesn't seem like such a great idea, does it?
I'll leave them away, get her out. Go! Mommy's back in the theater, fucking go!
Lucky that Jesse was there to be able to lift Dina and carry her away, which is something that Ellie wouldn't have been able to do because Dina shouldn't be there in the first freaking place. You may think that the plot armor is not engaged at the moment, but I promise you it is, because this probably would not have happened if Jesse hadn't been there to take Dina away from danger so that Ellie can pretend to be a hero. It's easy to be the hero when someone else is there literally doing most of the hard work or heavy lifting. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to give her any passes because she didn't have to be in the situation that almost got Dina killed. Imagine if Dina had gotten an arrow through the head. Would it really have mattered at that moment to continue going? Would she then be on a fake revenge journey to now avenge Dina and forget all about avenging Joel, which she seems to have already done? Or would she tag it onto the list of things to do, like the tasks of to-do things, bucket list, whatever the hell you want to call it, kill the person who killed Joel, and then kill all these why so serious fanatics? You know what would have hit home a little bit harder in the scene where they sliced that person up? Us seeing them do it to a woman. I mean, we see them killing off dudes, which is okay, but it would have made it, like, way more sense to show how heartless these people really were if we saw them doing it to a woman soldier. The little WLF organization is full of them. Like, there's women all over the place. So for me, this would make more sense and make it more terrifying to Ellie and Dina, since they're women, to know that these people will show absolutely zero mercy, because they usually are like, oh, we'll just protect the women and children. Nope. They'll straight up torture a woman and disembowel her. We've shown that the wolves can kill women and children, no problem. But these people don't look like the good guys either. So Ellie's running pell-mell, and she falls down and decides to find a hole in the trees to hide and cover herself with her hoodie. And these people who are right on her tail and able to detect her enough to fire an arrow in her direction, all of a sudden just leave the area. They just come and stand there. And then instead of searching the immediate area where they already knew that she was, they just disperse and are like, all right, we're just gonna leave, I guess. Seriously? These are the people that also seem to have no problem traversing woodland areas. They seem to be nomadic people who probably live in the woods, and they don't think to look down in the ground to track her footsteps, which would have been very freaking fresh. That didn't cross their minds. It crossed mine. The first thing I thought was, damn, kind of cornering yourself, because those people are gonna look down and find your tracks. But the writing for the fanatics is just as stupid as the writing for every other character except Jesse and the horse, because it didn't enter any of their minds. And instead of continuing on in the direction they were already headed, where they know that Ellie is headed, they all decide to turn and go back the way they came.
Oh my God! Wow!
Man, I really hope that they're smarter than what's being shown here, and that in the next episode they set up a trap or go back to find Dina, knowing they'll draw Ellie out, because there's no way these people can be this collectively stupid. I know they're following a dumb religion, but with everything else, how would they have made it this far existing as a people if they don't have the sense of mind to look down to track the quarry they were just chasing only a few seconds ago? Are they freaking NPC characters that just go brain dead once you're out of sight and not making any noise? Did the writers forget this is not an actual game and that these people have to believe like real people in the freaking show? Good lord.
Мне в очко. Внезапную...
And freaking dumbass Ellie wastes no time, absolutely zilch, and crawls out of her hole like the roach that she is. That's a little bit cruel, whatever. Before they're even out of earshot, which is so stupid, because bitch, you could step on a twig and draw them right back to you. Why do they always do this in movies and shows where someone is hiding and they almost die, and then when they come out of their hiding spot, it's super fast when the monster, whoever's chasing them, is barely out of the picture? Trust me, if they couldn't detect you and that you were in there with all the signs that you gave them that they should have picked up on, then they're not gonna find you, but whatever. She runs out and sees a compound where there are people on patrol. And this is so freaking stupid. I cannot stand the writing in the show. You're about to check why. Bro, why are we having to look at her face for 5 freaking seconds? It's not that serious. Even standing there wearing that face that she's apparently supposed to be wearing in the scene, she's not even doing it right. I don't know how that's possible. It's like at this point, you're trying to be a bad actress. God, this show's making me tired. By the way, I look it up and to see if the dog dies and how I am. She doesn't, thank God. The puppy is the 3rd character that I like in this, and he's the only character, she, in this entire show that apparently has any sense, aside from Jesse. And I know that it's impossible for this Belgian Malinois to not detect Ellie. And if it doesn't, then that just means the writing is even more batshit crazy than we thought. But don't worry, they're gonna find a way to mess up this scene as well. Jesus Christ. On a freshly baked Amish biscuit, do they find a way to mess up this scene? Because, like, I don't know what we're watching here. It feels, as I said, like one of those asylum movies that they try to make bad on purpose or something, knowing they're gonna cater to an audience, or so they can say, well, if people think it's bad, we meant for it to be bad. So we succeeded. Haha. But somehow it still manages to hurt them. So I'm not sure. But here we are. Here we go with the plot armor thickness.
Not sure. Checking it out. Come on, Bonnie.
Had to take a break because the dog's starting going crazy. So anyway, this dog is a she, and she's going over there because she detects something. Her owner goes with her because the dog is trained to detect when there are invaders or something wrong. How cute she is. But anyway, as far as I remember, a lot of the members of the Wolves or WF, whatever they're called, are probably military or ex-military or have some kind of military training. Belgian Malinois are used as military dogs because they're hyper-intelligent, extremely agile, and dedicated to work and training. And I don't know, but in that scene that we saw, it seems as though they're using Bonnie as a patrol dog or a dog that's meant to go after quarry. Kind of like how these dogs are trained, right? Which means that this dog is probably like these people trained to detect enemies or even the infected. Or it will alert her handler or owner when there's something off or when there's an enemy in the area. Pretty sure this type of dog would not just be going off on squirrels because dogs don't respond this way or aggressively this way when they just see a prey animal, especially if they're trained. They may react this way if something spooks them, but if they're sure they've seen something and it's prey, they're gonna give chase after it and look alert and playful and determined. Because when they're hunting and killing something, it makes them happy. They see it as a game. I've raised dogs for most of my life, so I know this, and having Shiba Inus with a wicked high prey drive, especially my female, this is how she behaves. That dog never wags her tail unless she's actively killing or hunting something. And it's a very far cry from when she's viciously barking at something that she sees as a threat or trying to alert me, like when we brought that kitty in as a stray and she was frothing at the mouth and biting the wires on the kennel because she'd never seen a cat before and she wanted to kill the thing and she saw it as a threat. That's why we don't have cats, by the way. Funny how I trust my Pitbull boxer mix with anything. That dog's a saint, but I would not trust my Shiba Inus. That being said, I can tell, even though my dogs aren't military trained, the difference between when she's excited to see something that she wants to hunt or chase, and the difference between her bark when she's scared or being hostile towards something or trying to alert me that there is a threat in the area. I could be wrong, but these people own their dogs or have trained them, so they're supposed to be able to pick this up, right? And even if the people watching this don't know anything about dogs, I can gather that a lot of you watching this, a huge swath of you probably at some point have or currently do own dogs. I would hope you know your dogs enough to understand when something is wrong and when they're just being playful and dumb. And I could be wrong. It could be that she thinks it's an enemy and she hasn't seen it or smelled it to know that it's prey. But I figured that if they train the dogs, they would train them well to be able to tell the difference. As police dogs and military dogs often do. They can pick up on those cues in their environment. I prefaced all of that so you can see the scene.
It was a critter or something. All clear.
You have got to be fucking kidding me. Oh my god. Oh my freaking god, bro. You trained the puppy to be able to detect enemies. This dog is barking aggressively, pulling, trying to let you know, hey, look in there. He doesn't even fucking look. How can you say all clear? A very skinny, grown man can enter through this hole. Are you fucking dumb? Your dog is trying to talk to you. Does he not know his dog? Does he not know the behavior of the dog? If you're training dogs to alert you when there is danger and the dog tells you, hey, there is danger, then you need to follow up on anything the dog is alerting you to. This fucking dumbass. Jesus Christ. He wouldn't even look down at the tracks because had he done so, he would have seen footprints, footsteps, whatever, leading right towards the freaking area. Aren't these guys military trained? Like, wouldn't you also be able to detect the disturbance on the ground that doesn't look like a critter, but looks like a person was dragging themselves or dragging something? I'm gonna tell you a secret. Okay, I'm not military personnel or a veteran. Okay, that's not a secret. But I did do a lot of hide and seek. I played a lot of hide and seek, which I know a lot of you played too. And if we were in the yard, it was very easy to tell what direction people went in based on their tracks on the ground. If I looked in a garbage can or around the area where there was a garbage can and saw there were tracks or footprints or disturbances around it or handprints, that gave it away real easy. Would I look in the can? Nope. Not really. I don't really have to. I kick that shit straight over and my cousin or friend would be laughing their ass off. And I wouldn't tell them at first. I wouldn't tell them what made it easy. And the thing is, I didn't think about this at first when I was really little, but As you grow older, you're like 6 years old, whatever, you start to kind of put things together, right? Because the thing is, when you're playing hide and seek, you want your friends to get better. So you can also hone your skills finding them. So then, yeah, after we're done or after a while, when you keep finding people and they're wondering what the hell's going on, how do you find us? And they ask, and maybe some of them figure out, maybe some of them don't. And you tell them, yeah, when you went through that muddy area or that place with the soil, I saw your footprints. Or if it's dusty, I saw your handprints where you touched it. I knew you hid under the car because you tracked dirt all over there on the car. And that's just hide and seek. You can probably forgive those things in a game. I was exceptional at hide and seek, by the way. I'm very proud of that. I will brag to my deathbed with that because I really, really was. And I'd like to still think I am, even though I haven't put it to the test in a few years. But if you're a military trained person or nomadic people who live in the freaking forest, this is something that's supposed to be second nature or you have training for. Or am I tripping? I know there's a lot of you who watch my channel who are ex-military or whatever. Can you please back me up here? Am I crazy? I almost expect this behavior from cops, but not from people who are military trained. And in a freaking setting where you have people that can kill you and people who have killed your people and you're supposedly like on high alert for people that live in the woods and are good at doing this kind of mischievous behavior. Who's to say that one of those Scarface people didn't put one of their kids in that little hole? Like, dude, a kid could easily get through there. I could fit through there, no problem. The kids are smaller than me, so please tell me why this man ignored every freaking sign that his dog was giving him and all of his supposed training. Because to be on patrol and to do this kind of thing with the vests and the military gear and all that stuff, these people have to have some level of training, even if all of them are not vets. Enough of them are that they would train the others. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, it's just really confusing why the character made this decision. Is it so we could have plot armor as thick as a 400-pound dude's neck? So Ellie could give us the appearance of being stealthy and lucky or skillful when she's none of those things? Give me a freaking break. A poor dog. Poor Bonnie must be so freaking confused as to why her handler is a fucking dumbass. And I just keep wiping my face in exasperation because that guy who didn't check the hole, that hole was to the building where everybody else is in, including Nora and apparently the hurt people that she's seeing to. This is more the reason why you should be very adamant and thorough with your job.
You remember me? Yeah, you remember me.
What do you want?
Where's Abby?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
You shoot me, this time I'll have every soldier come running.
You'll still be dead.
So there's supposed to be some kind of payoff here, but it doesn't feel like it. First of all, Ellie is not intimidating at all. And as I keep saying, this is a broken record at this point. There is no hint of her remotely being interested in seeking revenge for Joel. So none of this act or this charade feels believable in the least. And while there is some element of the last portions of this episode that I did get to that I like, I will get to that, the whole setup of this was just fumbled. In this moment, I actually like the bald-head woman more than I like Ellie. And I don't like Ellie, so that's saying something.
Tell me where she is and maybe I'll let you go.
I killed you.
Maybe you should have. Or maybe you should have stayed the fuck out of Jackson. Nora, where's Abby?
The bald woman is doing a great job with her scene, and like I said, these aren't the strongest actors, but everybody here unilaterally seems to be outshining Ellie's character. Ellie is trying her best to deliver her lines, or maybe she's not, and maybe this is mostly the fault of the director, but the director can only pull out so much. I can't even fully say it's the director because everybody else seems to be fine. Dina's a good actress. She's a much better actress, whoever is playing her. This bald woman that Ellie's talking to, she seems to be doing a great job, even though I don't have any idea who the hell she is. Everybody else is good by Netflix standards, which is already a low bar to be set. I think Pascal is the only one who's loads better in terms of ability of acting, and honestly, I think Dina is right up there with him, which is crazy. And even though I like Tommy's wife, Maria, her name wasn't Sarah. I think I called her Sarah at some point. But like I said, she's terror to me. I thought she was a good actress in True Blood, and she was okay. Okay, not the best. She's not as good as Dina, though, but it's still better than Ellie. So having this woman here, who's supposed to be filled with barely contained rage, deliver her lines with the fervor of a $5 prostitute climaxing under a drunk, sedentary homeless man feels like a complete waste of potential. How many takes would they have to have done just to get this?
You remember me? Yeah, you remember me.
Jesus, as a film student, trust me, I understand that just to get one shot, it sometimes takes up to 40 times, or not even that, as many times as needed and as much as possible. You're supposed to get as many shots as possible and then choose the best ones and then choose the best out of those. And you mean to tell me that this was the best?
Tell me where she is and maybe I'll let you go.
Lord have mercy.
I'm sorry you saw it happen. No one should ever have to see something like this. Sometimes at night, I still hear his screams.
It was a terrible thing, the way he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little bitch got what he deserved.
I'm sorry, it was so freaking hilarious and completely expected. What if that was acid that went in her face? That would have been hilarious. Okay, that would have been messed up, but, you know. Dude, props to this woman, though, for knowing how to haul ass. Meanwhile, Ellie doesn't look as though she's chasing someone who killed someone that she loves. It's more like she's trying to neutralize a simple inconvenience. Hey! Shoot her! Why is this so freaking comical? I swear to God, like half the time I'm laughing my ass off. I'm actually rooting for the bald woman. And this is so bad. I'm either a real degenerate and I'm cruel and an insensitive person when it comes to these characters, or the development strategy that they try to take for this character or fail to do is just that bad. The thing is, if Dina was in this situation, I know I said I don't care about what happens to her character, most of the characters, and that's still kind of true. However, from the time we got Dina giving that exposition that could have been a scene of her explaining why she would go to the ends of the earth to hunt someone who hurt her family, I've actually started liking her a bit more. And she was actually already a likable enough side character as it was. I don't think she's a strong character, you know, like in terms of acting chops in that degree enough to be main character. I think there still would need to be a lot more squeezed out of her. But if she was in this situation, I'd feel bad for her and I'd be worried for her safety. If it were Jessie, I'd be worried about what happened to Jessie. Let's see, who else? Yeah, no, that's it. Any one of those characters, if they were in the situation getting shot at, I would be worried for them. I'm more worried for the bald woman who's supposedly the villain than I am for the person we're supposed to be liking. The Last of Us version of Smooth Face Saitama. No, Nora, you're gonna fucking die! Nora! The whole time I'm chanting, Nora, please run! Get away from this bitch! Feels like I'm watching a horror movie where like the Jurassic Park raptor reveal comes out and he's like, oh no, clever girl. Except it's Ellie's face and she's like a life-sized uncanny doll chasing down someone with a gun. That is the atmosphere I'm getting from this. This woman's face. Dang. If I were to walk in right now and not know anything about the show, I would think that Ellie was a bad guy and this woman is a good guy and that she's trying like hell to get... Actually, this scene right here feels like the last act and chase scene of every thriller I've ever seen, where the good guys are now completely aware that the person they've been staying with is a monster, or the good guys are being hunted down by some crazy hillbilly thing or AI doll or crazy ex-girlfriend. And I know that anything can look like anything at a glance the way it's edited, but I just find it so interesting that even knowing the full context of the show, that is still the vibe that this is giving me. Nora, get up, run! Anyway, so we see Nora look up at level B2, which I'm guessing is one of the levels that were sealed off. Like, if I had to choose between that and, like, running towards someone with the gun, I'd probably take my chances with the gun. Person's gotta run out of ammo sometime, right? Protect your head. I think that it would have been way more effective, though, the scene, again, like I said in the beginning, had we seen the people from the beginning actually deal with this here. And then we hear the noises inside of them gasping for breath, and then as the camera pans out, we get a phase of the camera like it's going through the door or the wall, and then as the camera continues panning backwards, we then see B2, and then maybe we cut to the woman's face who was talking to the grouchy boss, and she's screaming because Leon is in there, and then we get a cut from her screaming, and the echoes of her screams fade into the background as we see her now sullen face. Grief-stricken too, which she doesn't look here. This person just looks like they're showing up for a cup of coffee and they couldn't be bothered. And then maybe that's when we get her boss sitting down and looking at her and asking, so tell me what happened, right? Woman looks up at her as though she's now dead inside. And like I said, she's supposed to look a lot more agonized. I get it, she'd be in shock or something, but dude, being that freaking Leon or whatever the hell his name was is her freaking son. But anyway, before she opens her mouth, though, we cut to the intro, before she even says anything, of The Last of Us for this episode. Man, I remember when I used to want to be a director. That was my dream from a child. That was the first dream I ever had before I switched over to veterinary medicine. And then I decided that I didn't want to watch animals dying that I wasn't able to save, and having to give people news that their animal was sick and then hearing them cry and then I'm crying. Like, I couldn't do it. I could not. It would weigh too much on me. So I defaulted back to wanting to become a director and went to film school until I realized, oh shit, I'm going to have to work with people and stupid ass investors in suits that know nothing about the art and will want to change a whole bunch of things, or just people around me not wanting to accept the dark places I would want to take things and the methods I'd want to use to make sure that my actors do the best work possible, even if it means possibly mentally traumatizing them on set so they can get into the character, because I've had to do the same to myself. And no matter what happens, even though that is not a dream I'm so-called chasing anymore, I still can't help but see things through those eyes. There are people here in the comment section right now that could do a far better job than I ever could for free, and they didn't go to school for this. I know a big part of that, though, has to do with writing, and I know you other writers out there know exactly what I'm talking about, because what you give to the story is the foundation that everything else must be built upon. That's usually how that works. So everybody else that builds on top has to have something to work with. A good director can make that happen. But if you write your characters to be stupid or your story is trash, then there's only so much that they can do. I personally think what comes next in this episode is actually a decent scene, but I think it would have been way more impactful had they set it up better. Jesus. Is Ellie a freaking stormtrooper or something? Why is she so bad at her aim? You're standing still at this moment in time, and there's a decent sized target right there that's sprawled out like a canvas. Like, what the hell? I mean, we had Tommy bigging her up the earlier episodes talking about, it's not the scope, it's the shooter, it's the skill. Where's all of that gone? I get it, she's sniping and she's stationary, she has time. But where's all the training you supposedly were supposed to have? Were you not target shooting as well? Did you think you were only gonna be physically fighting people and people weren't gonna be trying to fire at you before you got close enough to them? What are you, stupid? Gross. No, I can understand someone bobbing and weaving and running, but the woman was lying down on top of the elevator, which is a pretty big target, and she's right. How do you miss that? One of the things that every firearm owner has to do when you have firearms, to keep your guns in tip-top shape, you know, right? You clean them, you do whatever, but go out there and use them. Like, that's part of it. Like, go out and target practice. So if you ever do have to use them for real, for whatever reason, whether it be hunting, defending yourself, your family, you can hit your target and do what you need to do or get your food. Ellie was training all this time, or that's what they want us to believe, but yet she cannot hit a target only several feet away that's sprawled out on the ground, stationary, right underneath her when she's not moving. If you're trying to go out of your way to not hit her, you're doing a great job. Otherwise, hit her so you can subdue her and get your information, or just kill her because that's what you came here to do, but Ellie can't even do that. I bet your spongy ass, though, if Dina was in that situation, that girl would have been dead. Dina probably would have asked her one time, and if she said no, Dina would have popped her in the head. Or kissed her and slept with her, who knows? So we hear the people up there who are pursuing Ellie talk about the door being open, they're freaking out, and as soon as she comes down to level B2, we can see the spores floating all around her. Cordyceps are everywhere. And again, this would have been a really interesting scene had we, as the audience, just discovered this. Let's say in the very intro of the episode, we have people screaming and gasping for air. We don't know what's going on. Then you hear people screaming in their walkie-talkie saying, seal it, seal it. Maybe you don't even see them, you just hear them. You don't even have them say it's in the air. All you see is the mother freaking out on the other end of the call of the walkie-talkie, listening to her son and his crew. And then we cut back to where we see people dropping, but you don't know what's attacking them. And then we cut to that same scene where the mother is talking to the grouchy-ass boss woman. Then the boss woman asks her what happened. Then the woman looks at her with anguish on her face, fade to black, or cut to intro. So we wouldn't have gotten some payoff here by the time the scene rolls around, because now we're gonna get an answer to the question. That way, you would have hooked the viewers in because they want to know what happened to the people in the intro. You might suspect it at the time, but the truth is you have no idea. And now Ellie is following Nora into this, and you hear Nora making the same weird noises that these people in the beginning were making. And you see Ellie seeing all of this, and then she comes upon these cordyceps infected people that are now spewing out spores from their lungs, which looks haunting. I don't know if this was in the game, but this was actually done beautifully, which shows us that this show has the potential to be haunting and suspenseful and done well because the designs for this and the set and the people breathing out the spores as they're suffering was done expertly. Very creepy. But I do think it's a shame because there should have been a bigger payoff with this. But we already knew what was going to happen before Nora even went down there because they spoiled that whole thing in the beginning without having shown us. They should have saved it for here. See the music and the setup here and the suspense? Excellently done. It's very rare that you find something in the show where you can say, damn, you actually did a really good job with that. This feels right now like a completely different show. Just this scene right here than the rest of it does. Maybe if we didn't get a bunch of people soppy, kissy, and pretending this was a road trip the entire time, we might have already been emotionally prepared for the scene. As soon as I saw the sci-fi elements to this, I was locked on, but I would have been even more so had I been shocked. Annihilation is one of those movies that delivered those kinds of scenes really well. If you haven't watched the movie Annihilation, might seem like a slow start, but trust me, if you're into sci-fi and something similar to this, you will be very happy because good lord, there are some twists and turns in that movie that will just stay with me to this day. They were so wonderfully done and it already kept the same theme from beginning to end. It's one of those movies that every now and then you're like, let me go back and watch it because that's how much of an impact it had. Or you see some people talking about it or you see a short of it on YouTube and it makes you want to go back and actually watch the movie. Annihilation did that very well and missed me with the bullshit with people calling everyone sexist because every single one of the characters of that movie were female, and the movie slapped, so what's the excuse for The Last of Us? So anyway, as Ellie is creeping closer, we hear the ominous sound of people breathing out. Every time they breathe out, cordyceps, spores are spewing into the air. I mean, I guess this was Leon, because he looks Korean. I don't even know if the actor's Korean, he just looks Korean to me. But he also has the same tag that says El Park, which usually is a Korean name, and his mother's last name was Park, the woman that we saw in the beginning. Would have been more impactful if we saw him from before. I don't know, but it looks as though these people are in a very horrible situation, where they're suffering, but not turned. Like they're completely aware, but they're just stuck like this and helpless. How did they even get like this? I don't know. Did they pick themselves up and make a cocoon over themselves? And they're still infected and acting as such? Maybe they still have all their wits about them, sort of, but their bodies have completely taken over, but their minds are still there. Ugh, that'd be horrible. Or did other infected bring them here? I have a feeling it's the spores, because there was nothing down here before, which now ups the stakes because now the fungus is airborne. Then we hear Nora coughing, which means, oh boy, she's into trouble. Cause you gonna die. And since Ellie is not coughing, I'm assuming that she's immune to the spores version of the cordyceps as well.
Okay.
Here's why it's very weird that Ellie's not even coughing. And I get that they want to make her badass in universe because of her immunity, but it's really weird because in reality, fungal spores are very microscopic particles. And most people, whether you're immune to the fungus or not, are gonna have a respiratory irritation reaction when breathing it in. The body's immediate defense is to cough or sneeze to expel foreign particles. And Ellie is breathing them in. Doesn't matter if she's immune or not, she would still be coughing. Secondly, she's really stupid as hell. Because even if you know you're immune to the fungus, how do you know as a person if you're immune to the spore versions of this? Furthermore, why would you even want to breathe them in when you realize what's happening? Anybody's first line of defense, or just common sense, is to put their shirt around their mouth because you don't want someone breathing dust towards your face. Is she that stupid? I can understand Nora because she's running for her life and she probably figures she's gonna die anyway, but Ellie's character seems to have no life preservation skills whatsoever. I guess she thinks she's immune to everything. And then again, I can't blame her because that's the way the plot armor is written around her, wrapped so freaking tight.
Stupid bitch. Spores. We're breathing spores. We're infected. You killed us both. Did I?
So stupid. I mean, this is the best part of the episode, which is not saying much, but what would have been better is if we saw Ellie coughing as well and struggling to breathe, and then after a while she stands up and breathes in deeply and then continues walking towards Nora, and Nora's like, the fuck? Maybe that's a little too heavy, or maybe it's a little too anime. But there's nothing that tells us that Ellie's lungs are reinforced, so that's the only way I can think of to address something like this. But anyway, then Nora realizes, oh my god, you're her. You're the immune girl. You're real. Which tells us that the people who were going after Joel didn't understand why he did what he did. did. How do people keep that from everyone else? Like, what the hell's going on? They never once stopped to wonder why Joel would do all of that and kill everybody in the freaking hospital and supposedly take nothing. How is Nora Abby's friend supposedly, and she does not know that her father was killed while in surgery trying to cut open Ellie? I'm sorry, but that just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah? Where's Abby? Don't you know what he did? I don't care. You don't care. He killed everyone in that hospital, including the only fucking person alive that can make a cure from you. That was Abby's father. And Joel shot him in the head. That's what he did. I know.
Called it. I mean, it's not like it was much of a secret. It was pretty obvious. That's why she was mad at him. But then exactly what was your issue, Ellie? You knew what he did and why he did it. So what the hell was your issue? Yeah, it was terrible. He had to kill all those people, but they were also trying to kill him and keep him from you and kill you. So, I mean, what would you rather have him do? Ellie also killed someone to try and protect herself from dying. So I just find it interesting. She looks pretty in the dark. Not Ellie, obviously. The bald-head woman. And you know exactly what I mean. Like, some people, when you turn the lights off, it just works. Don't get me wrong, she was already pretty, but like, when the lights are off or low, absolute banger.
Where's Abby? No.
Why would Nora tell you anything? She's already gonna die. So we get Ellie taking up an object so she can beat the shit out of Nora exactly the same way Abby beat the shit out of Joel. Nora, at this point, doesn't have any motivation to tell Ellie anything because she's suffering and it would just be easier if she'd just be killed. But I have a feeling that Ellie's not gonna let it go by that quickly.
No.
Sorry. Why did we keep getting a cut? Why did we get a cut here? Okay, she swings. Whoosh. Don't see anything. Have her cry out in pain. And we get another cut. If you really want to showcase how impactful this is to Ellie and how gruesome it is, let's see her actually hitting the person. Private home. Why do they keep shying away from it in the show? My fellow ice swallowers, you can show a guy getting disemboweled and Joel getting his kneecap shot the hell out, but they can't show a woman being beat to shit. I mean, they didn't really show that with Joel either when he was getting hit, but they did show the thing going through his neck, so...
Where is she? Where is she?
And like, she swings down, whoosh, cut before she even smacks the woman. They kept cutting like 2 times when she's hitting the person. Why do you need to cut twice? Or why does a cut need to be there, period? You're swinging to go and hit someone. Follow through. Why are we getting another cut before she does a freaking full swing with this rod? I mean, kudos to the showrunners. Now we get a little bit of action, which is the bare minimum, but good lord, they couldn't even do that part right. And I would much rather had seen Dina in this role as Ellie, to be honest. The more the show progresses, the more I'm convinced that she would have been a better cast. I know that people say it doesn't make sense to swap the skin color of people ordinarily. I would agree, especially if there are other actresses that are good or better than these people, or just as good. If you don't want to pay the extra money, that would have looked exactly like the character. But at this point, that honestly would have been better, because if people were looking past that, like, I mean, it would be an improvement. Anything at this point would be. But anyway, that's the episode. I said everything I needed to say beat by beat. Do you guys think I'm being harsh? Doesn't matter. I don't really give a damn. Because harsh or not, I'm being freaking honest. Like, I like how people come out and be like, oh, you're just being a hater, though. Like, no shit, dumbass. It's pretty obvious. And I hate it. This episode, the end of it, was better. So I didn't absolutely hate that. But yes, I hate the writing. Oh my god, what a secret. You couldn't tell? Bit redundant saying that, are we? Good lord. And the way things are moving in this, I don't know or didn't know if we were getting a season 3 of this thing. But I wouldn't really see a point. And they would have to hire some new writers because Jesus Christ. Maybe part of me is being hopeful because I remember what happened with Picard in the first 2 seasons and the atrocities those were. And then the 3rd season came and we were like, Jesus Christ, what happened? The show straight up evolved into a masterpiece. Anyway, this was fun, sort of, not really. How do you guys see this ending? And did this episode hit home for you? Did you like the last part, or does it feel like it was wasted based on the casting and lack of structure for the writing?
Can I help? No. Why? Because I'm stupid? That's not the word I would use.